A note from David to stroke survivors. When I was little, my life was a piece of cake. I loved to read and play soccer and hang out with my friends. I enjoyed playing the bells at church each Sunday, and I actually looked forward to school. My goal in life was to become a doctor, like my dad, and I hoped to have a large family of my own someday. It seemed I was on the right track to achieve those goals until my life took a turn for the worst. It was Christmas of 1994, and I was 10 years old. After we finished opening our presents, my grandparents told me and Mike that they had one last special gift for us. They gave us clues about what the surprise was: a golden lion, an emerald city, Greek gods, a large pyramid with cool hieroglyphics inside. Mike guessed it. The surprise was a family vacation to Las Vegas that spring. I was so excited. It was going to be a trip that we'll never forget. Unfortunately, that turned out to be all too true, and our lives would never be the same. March came and we were off to Vegas. We were supposed to go hiking in the canyons, but I started to have flu-like symptoms. My mom and I stayed behind while the others headed out, and I laid down to rest. When I woke up, I could no longer talk and my right side was dragging like a dead fish. I was having a stroke. I don't remember much about the next few weeks. I didn't understand what was going on and couldn't understand what people were saying. It was like waking up in a country where you don't speak the language. I was hooked up to machines and I had tubes in my arms, and people kept sticking needles into me. The doctors ran tests and eventually discovered that I had a rare vascular abnormality called Moya-Moya disease, which is what caused the stroke. I lived in the hospital for nearly 3 months. I couldn't speak or understand because of the condition called global aphasia, and I lost the use of the entire right side of my body. Nearly all of the left side of my brain was damaged. One doctor recommended that my parents move me to a nursing home for the rest of my life. He said that it would be best for everyone since I would be permanently disabled. After staying with me for the first 10 days, my family had to go back home to Ohio. They had to get back to work and school. But my mom didn't go. She stayed by my side in the hospital. I knew she felt hopeless and desperate for help. She was asking anyone she could for advice, but the doctors came in and out so quickly that it was hard to get any answers. She begged one doctor to tell her what he would do if I was his family member. He gave her this advice: stimulate, 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 and fight. So we became fighters. It wasn't easy. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to talk again. I could use only one hand. Speech therapy taught me the tools and techniques to communicate in other ways. In the beginning, the process was slow. I used words and image boards so I could point to what I needed. I had to learn simple words like yes or no. And I got confused hearing simple questions like, "Do you want some water?" Then I started to relearn single words to communicate what I needed: food, sleep, TV. Physical therapy helped me with my legs, allowing me to go from using a wheelchair to walking between parallel bars to using a cane. I had to learn how to write with my non-dominant left hand in occupational therapy. My 3-day trip to Las Vegas ended up being nearly 3 months of inpatient rehab. I continued outpatient therapy and rehabilitation for nearly 15 years. Fast forward to today. I can walk, I can talk, I can drive. I have many abilities. Things aren't as easy as before, but I live independently and try to have a normal life. I enjoy traveling. watching movies, and listening to podcasts. At times during my recovery, I was unsure if I'll ever be able to live on my own, but I had improved and adapted. Getting out of my comfort zone has helped my recovery, but it hasn't always been easy. Sometimes other people do not understand me. Occasionally, people have been cruel. In the beginning, some people thought I was drunk or dumb because of my aphasia. I hated that. Now I travel on my own. I visited foreign countries and figured out how to get around by myself. My independence and my ability to book complex itineraries are evidence of my recovery. Don't get me wrong, many things are still an issue for me, such as my agraphia, writing difficulties. So I find tools to help me. For example, I use speech-to-text software to help me write this introduction. I have difficulties putting together sentences together and editing. So I use that software to play back the words in order to find places where something's not right. I can hear, but not always see, what needs to be changed. I tend to sleep a lot because the pathways in my damaged brain gets overloaded. I get severe back and body pain from overworking my left side, which I still favor. I still have aphasia, and it's more pronounced when I'm stressed or tired. However, all of those disabilities do not stop me from living my life, and yours shouldn't stop you. Whatever stage of stroke recovery you are in, please know that you are not alone. I've been there, and so have many of others. I felt hopeless. I felt alone. I felt scared, frustrated, confused, and anger. All stroke survivors have. But there's a reason they call us survivors. We're fighters, not victims. On the last night of my hospital stay, my doctor gave me a watch as a going-away gift. When I looked at the face of it, I saw it had a shoulder on it. She said, "Be a fighter." I wore that watch to remind me that I was in a battle. I was a fighter. I needed a battle plan. And so do you. This book is meant to help you in your fight. Use it as a guide to help you get through the dark times when you don't know what to do next. My brother and I talked to the top experts in the field of stroke recovery to ask questions on your behalf. The medical professionals in these chapters are speaking directly to you, the stroke survivor or family member. But unlike voices that fade away, this advice is kept safe for you on those pages to read and reread when you need it. Stroke recovery is a marathon, not a sprint. You will need different tools at each stage of the race. The good news is that my life is still on the right track. It's just a different track than the one I imagined as a child. There's purpose in my life. I truly believe that somehow this is where I belong the whole entire time, helping others find hope and see possibilities. Now I wanted to help you find the ways to achieve your highest potential and enjoy life. From the bottom of my heart, I believe that we can do this together. Remember to take your recovery one day at a time. There is so much to learn and so much to do. It can be overwhelming. Sometimes you feel like you just don't know where to turn. I spent many years feeling hopelessness and despair. Recovery is hard, but what I learned is that if I took tiny steps and built on that, I made progress. It was very slow, and the progress was almost unnoticeable, but it was happening. At the same time, I was learning techniques that would help me adapt to, rather than overcome my paralysis and communication difficulties. Today, I am a founder board member of the Aphasia Recovery Connection, a nonprofit that works to help families dealing with the language difficulties I had struggled with. We have the world's largest support group for people with aphasia. do aphasia cruises, which I organize, and run an aphasia university boot camp in Las Vegas. You can learn more about our nonprofit at the end of this book. I hope you find this book helpful. Take notes, structure time to learn and work on recovery. Practice what you do well and build on it. Ask for help. Create healthy habits. Take up new hobbies. Get to know other stroke survivors by attending support groups in your local area or on Facebook. Connect. Maybe I'll get to meet you at the Aphasia Recovery Connection event someday. Even if you don't make up for recovery back to your pre-stroke self, I didn't. Aim for your own personal, optimal recovery, whatever that looks like for you. I hope that you, too, will have a recovery story with some silver linings. Stay positive. I got through it, and I know you can too. Warmly, David.